November 12th, 2019, 6:53 a.m. 6:47 a.m. I came up the steps and read the time. I would calculate me being awake 15 to 20 minutes prior after the effects of what's happening and still affecting me right now. I'm having problems right here in the nasal from electronic shock in my sleep. What I'm going to think is a neuromodulator and something. There's a combination of a vagus nerve stimulator and whatever else on top of pressure inside my heart and my gut, which is similar to a heart attack. But let's get away from the heart attack situation, just a stimulation like electroshock therapy and waking up basically mind brain dead. Not even just brain dead, the shock feeling from it. Excruciating. You ever seen the videos, the photos, just like I have on some of my websites? If they're still there, the stories of the electroshock, the illegal electroshock therapy, and forced electroshock therapy, which I do not have paperwork to be forced. I specifically asked, legally with a lawyer at a mental health facility, while probated illegally, and fighting that, is once I was being told that there was a bunch of shit in this community. Carl Newman, Janara Torres, Thomas Duckman, and Ella Purdue. Ella Purdue, once again, I want to explain her background. I'm ex-mental health system and has done nothing but given a problem, sabotage, and set me up since 2008. Janara Torres, Thomas Duckman, 2011. Physical contact, assault, threat, intimidation. On top of Carl Newman, physical contact, threats. I'm big bad 007, what's up? I contaminated you, I poisoned you, all kinds of nasty ass shit relaying, and it's him and his crew. He seems to be a part of like the core group that lives right across the street from me, that also has other people that live across the street. All these guys are neighbors. Every last one of these guys have been outside the city and the state with me. Interstate, well, I'm going to say interstate stalking. They always try to pretend that they got a legal right to do it, like there's some type of high authority. They've done this for well over 20 years. Like Ella Purdue, I seen her face, Texas, 2004, when I was hitchhiking. But I won't call it hitchhiking, I was hiking. And very seldomly take a car ride. Carl Newman, same thing. New York City, New York, twice. And other relatives and other people that's at his house while they're holding house parties. There's also a business that he's staying in across the street from me. So he has plenty of money. Fucking throwing their little parties, their dope addict shit, on top of trying to play it's clean. It's not a dope addict. We're police. We're undercover. We have a citizen's rights to enforce these laws. I have specifically studied is the way they're putting it. Specifically studied this. This is all A-okay. No different than like an auditing America type of situation, or auditors that's been auditing America's systems, where they go up against the police head to head to know how, one, the rights to record like video in front of the police. When the police say no, you got to throw that video out, and it's a legal right, and I agree with it. But there's other things not that I don't agree with, but they're enforcing that type of attitude to the situation. And a lot of things that's already been busted for them. They've been busted in front of me with the cops right in front of me, but I was never given their information. State type of situation picking up the criminal charge, or the city picking up the criminal charge. The investigatory behind it, that way I'm not included, supposedly included, so they couldn't come back internally, which was also found. There's also corruption going on, internal shit, where they pull up paperwork, my name's on it, and then start that game of, you snitched us out, you got us in trouble, even though they still do that. If you're police officers, law enforcement, why the hell would they be talking and threatening and intimidating like a thug gangster? We got in trouble because of you gonna get hurt. You talk to us like shit. Well, I tell you what, it's already been seen by other people. They've talked to me like shit. Derogatory, disgraceful, disrespect, anything under the sun. And not only just here, But in New York City was one major ass situation since 2005, and that is on Carl Newman's behalf, Ella Purdue actually being visually seen, and some of the people with Carl Newman, and the police don't want to do shit. Blue gang bitch associated shit. And ever since I started saying that 8 months ago, it's gotten harder, 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 and harder on me. Not only the electroshock, but the threat, the intimidation, and everything else. We are not. I was told specifically in 2002, on a different trip in Tucson, Arizona, exactly that. The roots of the calls, the roots of the harassment, the grouping, and the pinpointation of the illegal crime that soared 700% in the 3 weeks that I showed up in the state or in that city. And it shot up in the situation. These guys are trying to utilize a situation of criminal thug acts while also utilizing, misabusing, corruptly legal and the legal system, much less also being legal aids, off-duty police officers, and trying to apply to become police officers. It just got so mixed up that they literally gave me a card to call on police officers, much less the rest of the trick or the rest of the situation. Not trick, but the rest of the situation that was going on. They brought in a bunch of people and then questioned them. Hey, you're smarting off to him. He talks back to you. It's illegal. He's threatening you. But you provoked it. There's things that are going on around here we need to understand because there's major situations going on. We as the authorities telling you to shut the fuck up. You didn't shut up. 2, there's people in here suspecting you basically like cartel crime. Is what was explained to me. Them running, basically trying, because I came out of a trip from Mexico into Tucson, Arizona, and them trying to play it off, well, we'll wipe shit and make it look like, and is a part of, though, like cartel, Mexican cartel, and whatever else they can dirtify the situation, whatever they can utilize, no matter what it is. I could go complete morched enemies, rivals, and they would try to utilize that tactic too. We're making connections, bitch. What the fuck are you? Point blank. It's worse than having a literal organized gang. It is organized, but like a profiled situation that the United States has a gang intelligence on information. Like if you went into a gang database or a organized crime, the gang, all that shit, database type of situation. It's even worse than that because these guys are always trying to put their hands in, and they go to that database to figure out not only just enemies, whatnot, to make foe. And it's been explained just like by DEA, it was on TV, and there was some documentaries on the internet where even rival gangs, you could have, and it's the worstest way for me to explain it because it's racism and I don't want that, even though there is a part of that also involved white supremacy and say black supremacy. It's clean. This is plain as black and white, but it doesn't just necessarily mean those groups. It's any and all groups. So you have 2 rivals, but it was explained in these documentaries. These 2 rivals will participate and operate together against a certain factor if it benefits both groups, or if the situation is, say, an inside snitch, even for law enforcement's sake, that they both would attack and also they would work together to eliminate the problem. These guys are always trying to work a network while also under supposed oath, while utilizing lawful acts and lawful communications, lawful situations. Always trying to provoke a situation between anything that they can get their hands on. Inform, recruit, and utilize like a tool. And has been for 20 some plus years. Ever since I went free myself after I turned 18 from my family, because my family is part of the culprit situation, but it leaves it on me, them victim blaming me. Same thing with the city, psychiatry. We got all kinds of people to work with you, and I've had other people come out. You don't have other law enforcement coming out and saying, plain as the nose on my fucking face, there's no way you can't pit one and one together and notice what everybody else is noticing. Anyways, on top of participating with it, you're utilizing acts yourself, which was proven even by the psychology or the psychological system here. At least the doctors and words say so. It wasn't put on paperwork, but an understandance that somebody's not treating me right with inside the system. Legally, police work. And then they're like, you ain't got nothing to complain about. You're just doing it to make it out, associations with the other criminality thugs or to make yourself look good. You're just running your mouth. Hey, I can't be running my mouth when I had a discussion at a mental health facility and they agree more that somebody wrongfully utilized verbal restraint, tension, authoritative, psychological, basically brutalizing. Psychological brutality was the word that was also used, even though it's not physical. It's still pretty damn harsh. Attempts of intimidating me, while intimidating me with authoritative acts such as writing me off what they call a pink slip here, or what we can do to you. You look nuts to me, I got the rights to intervene. You have lazy eye, I don't give a shit. You're ugly. And this is things that's been said by police, or mumbled underneath their breath in the eyesights, the big wide eyesights, trying to mimic me, while I have physical fucking, excuse the language, physical health problems. They're taunting me that they don't like the way that I am, so they're going to probate. They're going to illegally utilize their authoritative force, which is happening every day verbally anyhow, that they're always doing something systematically in behind my back, and they're controlling me systematically, lawfully, which there has been paperwork found in other cities, other states, and investigations in other states, not just Tucson, Arizona, of just as such. Either illegally basically planting evidence or type of situation, even though that's happened, pitting shit in the system files, making wrong reports, shit like that, perjurizing the situation, participating, and that's why in Tucson, Arizona, the police themselves, the authoritative parties themselves saying this is the way the real authority system works, the real authority works, when it really doesn't, being associated with cartel acts, associated with gangbanging. It just needs the evidence built up behind it, and when the cops went to work on it, I went to jail again. So they didn't have enough time, even though we discussed in jail, when I was in jail the second time out there, what the hell's going on, and understandings. The people that's participating, you're supposedly law enforcement. I'm the same you is, but you can't tell me clearly while you're utilizing he's too fucking retardedly stupid, that's why you don't take a statement from him, why within 3 weeks 700% crime rate jumps, and on top, like somebody's intelligently working with law enforcement to help them out to commit the crimes. But plain as the nose on our face, you being the same exact trained as I am can't tell me what's going on, and you're sitting right there, matter of fact, participating with it. And like I said, that's the reason why they gave me a card and anything and everything under the sun. If I see a cop even looking at me funny, to call in on it. They wanted to make the connections. Cartel connections. They wanted to make the gang associated connections. They wanted to make the new arrival connections. The influence of who may be influencing their police officers. And there is a probability there is recruitees somehow, some way, if not just influencing, hey, I'm off duty, I was trained an officer too, and hey, let's take blue gang bitch type of related situations, and then internal affairs finding that out indirectly, not just from me, indirectly in another investigation. That's what's going on. Another officer's influencing another officer to enact off duty and active, much less it's so mixed up that somehow another, like the police externally, that was stalking me, following me, trying to enforce the system, and they do this all the time, trying to recruit, gain the job, and a position inside the community that I'm in. So they have a legal right to restrain with. I am the authorities, which has been found out. That's also been busted. Some cops pull people over, and what are you doing? You're utilizing authoritative acts, verbalating, and all the rest, but you're not even employed by the city, the state. You're not employed. Means you're not active, means you don't have a fucking right, which is impersonation of an officer, or what was the thoroughest one was impersonation of mental health authority, when they wasn't even employed, and the cops was in front of my face in Colorado Springs saying this to the individual, and on top, I've already warned your friends. I'm not going to warn your friends no more. You're a group situation. It's only going to take once, and the last time through the person in an SUV, a female of that. One more time, and I'm sending you guys to jail. There's a city investigation, and there is a community investigation, and it is including him that you don't need to be bothering with. That's real suited, badge on the chest, police cruiser, 100% believable authoritation, not just like, ha ha ha, could be, undercover. Telling off authority. Anyways, my whole point of the video is not to explain all the corruption and what's going on, except for to make the solid foundation of me being electronically shocked to the point my face is cringed up. I have tear duct dropping, it should be running tears down my face, backside of my neck, all the way through my nostril, like I'm being given a frickin', basically what they said, somebody said when I was in for a lumbar puncture that also screwed me up here in Columbus, Ohio, a tracheotomy. Every time I go to start talking, I get that, somebody calls out my older brother's name, Jake, which isn't even his real name, but I'm going to go ahead and use it. It's childhood nickname type of situation. But eavesdropping on my house, eavesdropping on what I'm saying. There's been witnesses that they've had little sonar dishes and fucking lunch boxes out in the bum-fricked Egypt of Staten Island. I was camped out. I was homeless. And them aiming the shit at me. Them aiming the shit at me on the subway train. This, that, those, the others. While I'm giving a black attitude in this community of thuggism. Yo, man. Yo, bitch. If they had any ability to understand while there's an investigation going on, don't interfere with it. Especially when it's pertaining me as being the victim. But there isn't 100% shit there should be, and the system systematically, lawfully should have picked it up itself. Which I was also told by a psychiatrist, if the police see it, they should pick up on it, yes. Community actions. But the blacks that are participating, hey, we got a right to step on you because somebody else told us so. Which is called rumorization in Franklin County, which is a misdemeanor harassment at the minimum crime. Backstabbing is an actual, it's called belittling, is another crime. It should be, I do believe, a county crime, not just a city crime. I was told the city of Columbus is allowing this to happen to me by just the stories that I told to the psychiatrist or psychologist at a county-ran facility. That it's the city of Columbus. But there's been sheriff's department associated, and sheriff's department runs through county. And there's been corruption, electronic jamming, interference of me being able to collect evidence, or even doing my own daily thing. Not even if it ain't evidence, recording a video and my shit shutting off. A lot of situations as they are trying to utilize a mind mix-up situation of who's running what when there's a bunch of people running shit, just like Carl Newman. You're not going to make sense. You're going to be like schizophrenic, and I'm going to assault you again that way, because if you don't make sense, then it's not a clear story. Then you're psychologically unstable. Then I'm instating my civilian right that you're not allowed around anybody because you're unstable. Type of sabotage situation. But anyways, with that being said, utilizing external parties and a crap load of blacks, and my cell phone's not working, all of my shit, and them pertaining on top, not erasing that, there's other people that's gotten involved. Hey, you remember your family back in the 80s and my family? Okay, here in Columbus, Ohio, maybe that was cool, but when they took it outside of Columbus, Ohio, that's interstate stalking. That's not cool. That's no different than the 2002 situation, Tucson, Arizona, of basically like cartel business. You're telling me with the complaints, you can see it as plain as the fucking nose off of anybody's face, that the local law enforcement ain't picked up on this, and it's also been proven, watch you look into Columbus, Ohio, of being a corrupt loophole in the government. Utilizing whatever they can, abusing federal funds, and utilizing federal funds that are designated to help victims or to investigate certain amount of shit, saying that they're investigating, that they noticed it. Give 1 second. Sorry about that. I paused the video and restarted it. My Alexa was going off. And that's also been interfered with. Not just now, but there's been all kinds of beeps, tones, beep, like it's falling out, just like every other electronic that I got. But them utilizing what I was talking about, what was it? Cartel business with the blacks. Everybody's trying to create their own. What goes around comes around. Karma. My own family was called out in Tucson, Arizona. And that is an uncle and his gay partner. And I'm going to always include this in my videos, probably for 90% of all my videos, which is now finally, since 2015 I went to New York, and there was just this burden sort of taken off my chest, some of the weight, and an understanding a lot of other things are associating with what I'm calling homosexual organized crime. Now, I've called the FBI agency here locally in Columbus, and I was giving a bad, nasty attitude and treated like I was fucking stupid, which I do understand organized crime runs through usually business. If not fully, it has to be a business committing a crime, either against you or committing financial crimes. But I was treated ignorantly, like I was told at fucking Twin Valley Mental Health where the psychiatry works. And they said they worked for the county, understanding these guys should then put together your story, and that's their fucking job, just like the police. We're all trained the same way, even psychologically. They are supposed to put together your story and help it out, especially if it seems victimized enough or whatever. They are the intelligence. They was trained. No matter if I say there's a brown fox walking through the field, they need to put together that fox was doing something wrong. Not in an entrapment type of way, but if there's a situation there, work on it. As long as it's a situation, and work on it. Not, well, blow it off because I don't want to work on it. You seem skitsy, you've been victimized, and you're being systematically victimized, which is also being investigated every fucking where that I've been. Victimized, systematical, what the system said themselves, systematical assault, and internal shit. Once again, corruption, helping all this shit out while they're intimidating. You have been implanted, and we're not just controlling, we're shocking you, we're doing damage. It'll kill you if we want to. Law enforcement telling me that no paperwork, no nothing. I asked Twin Valley, how would I ask Twin Valley, like I said 22 minutes ago per se, from the time of what I'm saying on this video, the psychology place, the psychological and the psychiatrist, about forced electroshock therapy, and there is no paperwork, and they also said I would not be a candidate for that. They would not recommend it. The county wouldn't recommend me for being a candidate for that. And they represent the county, not the city. So if that's the case, then how is anybody implementing or implying that they got a right to utilize what I'll say, I've been building up the information, a neuromodulator, a vagus nerve stimulator, a combination of different things, because the shocking through the side of the neck is the same electrical impulses. And I've watched other videos of these people being, they intentionally trigger their stuff. They have it for like seizures, or depression was one. And they do, the symptoms I'm talking about is on spot with what happens to them. Literally, either hoarseness in the breath, loss of breath, hoarseness in the voice, deep into the throat, or afterwards real light, like somebody's also modulating my verbal abilities. So I can't speak. But not even that thing, the electroshock. You'll see some of them lick their lips. That's due to being shocked. It's a natural reaction. Because the current is going through their vagus nerve, which has a lot to do throughout the whole body. Watch vagus nerve stimulation on YouTube. I may include some videos shortly of what I've been seeing, but I'm afraid to a certain point that they keep utilizing, and somebody has fell out or acting like they fell out from underneath my feet. Because hey, if you're really being targeted, then why would you allow your perpetrators to know that? Asininity through law enforcement, victimizing through law enforcement, victim blaming through law enforcement. That's not good. That's not common sense. Even if I didn't utilize common sense, it's not 100% for you to ridicule to the point I become victimized and you not give any help. Point blank, I was told this, it was foundationalized at Twin Valley. They are trained to deal with shit. If I can't explain it correctly, they need to put it together. That is their job. It's not an option. Anyways, too late though. What are you gonna do now when I explain my story again? 8 years after the fact of even getting a little bit of help, even though that was influenced too. Right here in Columbus, Ohio, and them trying to take pride and joy, that's our system, that's the way it runs. What's going to happen, I've been victimized another 8 years after being in contact with a legal authoritative facility that runs for the county, also trumping the city, and nothing was done. You can't do nothing for me. You can't even pay me back to life. And that was also talked to Twin Valley. I already lost life prior to this and them understanding something's not right. And they wanted to go to the police, and I said no. The police are involved. And it isn't just like getting myself in trouble. Hey, don't try not to state that. I'm not trying to utilize, unless there's a reason to, a lawsuit or an ability to hold grudge against Twin Valley 100%. I'm not going to say take away everything. There's so much mixed up stuff, and you have one employee assaulting, the other employee standing against it type of situation. Even though both employees represent the facility, one should get in trouble, and the facility should, but and not backlash on the other either way. With that being said, that they understood there's somebody internally wrongfully working. So we couldn't go to local Columbus police, especially when I'm saying rock solidly and them pitting together, yeah, somebody's been trying to influence too much force psychologically that you're messed up and they have the rights to control you. Including family members, like the uncles that I ain't seen. They're trying to acclaim immediate family rights to intervene in my personal affairs communally, while they're also drug gangbanging on it and all the rest. Homosexually gangbanging on it because they're pissed off because somebody told them off in the past about how they're touching me when I was a child. It just didn't seem right. And it wasn't just because they was inflamed homo, but even still, you shouldn't have been fucking touching me. Anyways, with that being said, revenge, sabotage, and whatever else they can put together, haha, and community works with that. But I just rambled on. It's starting to get into a no point type of situation. Intelligence-wise, I had an individual comment, what's his name, Chief Handler. And it is true, you have an intelligent mind of a 12-year-old or a adolescent. Which is partially true, partially not. But I'm going to go with partially true for the fact of the incapacitation that I'm being forced to be under. To Chief Handler, one of the partially exact situation was talked with psychology. Because somebody had intimidated me the same way you had stated. And yes, it's true in a statement that it is, my capacity may not at all times be more than an adolescent. One, yeah, I didn't have the education, but that's not information for anybody to try to make a decision about how somebody's treated completely. Being fair, though, understanding and being fair with it, hey, I already talked with psychologists that work for a county, not just private, not influential, personally, hey, give me what I want. True talks. So, Mr. Chief Handler, if you watch this video, this is something to you. I'd like to see somebody track some of your stuff down. What location? Because I'm seeing that you're targeting people. It seems like, even if it's in your own verbalization point of view, to be able to expose or to utilize your own opinion. But it seems like you're stalking people that say they're being stalked, gang stalked, and all the rest. And I understand a handler because it was explained by an external source Sheriff's Department Association of social handling. It's actually a legal, occupational, job working situation. It's social works that the Sheriff's Department or the county handles. As a handler is what it is. Some type of handler. No matter what social works that it is. But not just jumping this guy in my video, but that was intimidating as hell. But to shoot back the same information, oh no, I've already talked about this with multitudes of other psychiatrists the same way. There is a non-intervention in other cities. I've left, or I was there at the end after being victimized for years prior, and then finally start representing, not just on my behalf, but other people too. Representing the cases, representing that is wrong, or those people have been done wrong, or didn't get the support that they were supposed to, so other things should cease. but talking about how treatment is and somebody holding captive and everything under the sun, while somebody's playing cartel and there's law enforcement participating with that, means they can get criminally charged. And I was told they can also be held immediately 5 years for prison for breaking their oath in that type of sense. For being employed as a law enforcement officer is a single charge. That is on top of everything else or whatever, mixed in with everything else that they're being criminally charged with being applied to them. I don't know how that works or whatnot, but 5 years automatic for them breaking their oath in a certain situation. Anyhow, that being said, all these counselors understanding there is a complex, complicated situation, and the believability of it is, hey, you can't be working in the facility that all of a sudden's on the news mainstream. I was there more than 3 times, for say 4 or 5 times, not counting how many times, and my story has stuck once before the media got involved and after. And there's still even after. They was trying to figure out, how do we deal with this? And it wasn't only just my behalf. And it isn't just mental health. It was other people being systematically assaulted, wrongfully done, or not represented right. At the least. Me being given credibility back where credibility is due. Not ostracized, belittled, put down, persuaded, victimized. But I will say Chief Handler did say, maybe it is happening to you. Maybe not. You're not making anything clear. You're like an adolescent child. Well, with that type of attitude, I'm only answering back what the psychiatrist answered back. Doesn't matter if you're pertaining in a legal opinion of authority and you've been trained and should be trained with psychology. You should help out rather than try to maybe negotiate your opinion more influentially that it's due to mental health incapacity that somebody's being treated wrong. Or maybe it doesn't exist, or you're not sure, so you can't accuse it. No, I do know I can accuse because I already have accused to a certain extent, except for a non-compliant system. And now it makes me, hey, it doesn't matter. Statute of limitations on your stuff, the things you're complaining, and you don't have evidence. Why should I have to try to build evidence when you're the ones with the technologies, with the investigation skills, and you, 100%, we've built, and this is like a Colorado Springs situation, brought in what is supposedly evidence, and the system declined it, or the cops at the moment said the system would decline it as evidence because it's improper evidence, it's not legal. To later on, in that situation, later on come back that the people had proper evidence and the police told them wrong about the evidence that they did have. But either way, now you're negotiating, so now since you're negotiating, you need to tell me what is good enough to provide for evidence. Oops, ain't our job type of situation is just completely illegal. So, anyways, with that being said, wow. Not trying to outlash on this guy, but that's another influential situation. Let's say I'm posting videos and getting comments back. But I think after all the stuff that I talked, he halfway understands my situation. I may be different, not saying I'm disconnected from all the rest that he's talked to, but I don't like, and I still do like, that maybe it is and maybe it's not. Well, here goes my, like I said, this is my foot ground and foundation behind what I got. If it was that much foundation, you should be able to go talk about it. Well, 8 years prior, this, that, and other things. And on top, hey, there's investigations of even authorities, other police officers being intimidating towards other police officers, socially pitting down, belittling, victimizing them unless they do what they want. You associate with him, I'm going to disgrace you. Whatever it is, connections, breaking connections, that's how hard it is. When mental health declines in agreeance with me to going to the police and helping me out, going to the local police, that's severe. That's the reason why I haven't went to the police to a point. But now somebody trying to regulate, that doesn't make reason. That's not legal. It's this, whatever can. Hey, I'm victimized now. I'm the one that's crushed. Why would you crush me anymore just to say, hey, let's just get rid of the situation. You can resolve it by moving on. Really? I moved on. I moved from state to state. That's how interstate stalking was introduced. And I'm not the one that said it. It was another police officer in Texas. that started introducing that. To start out with in certain case, but when you use the exaggeration, it's a federal crime in the first per se paragraph until you read through it. But I'm not going to start getting into it and degrading it. That it's only misdemeanor here, felony there, and rather than being federal crime. Hey, you want to get real severe about it, you read. I got the paperwork, and I think I posted the information on target of unlawfulacts.com where it says it's a federal crime. Hey, you want to act asinine and jump to conclusions? Let's just jump to the conclusion it's a federal crime of what everybody's committed, including law enforcement that didn't have the right to utilize the representation of their background because they wasn't employed, basically impersonating the lawfulization that they was enforcing. Mental health, law enforcement, whatever authority it is, impersonating the position because they don't hold the position. They've been trained for it. They may have prior held it. They may be able to hold it in the future, but they're not currently holding it. But it's so mixed up, so much shit, like dirty cartel work, and maybe in a targeted individual of not only gangs, but including government. There's been military in Colorado Springs, city investigations, because I've called in to me being harassed, intimidated, assaulted, threatened, and what I feel underneath a intelligible militarized force that these people have been trained with and targeting me like a terrorist or anybody else that they would be intelligently trained to take on and targeting me as a civilian. But we're playing situation. Oh, well, you act like you're walking around with valor as a military soldier. That's illegal. Really? When? Where? Why? How? And even if I was walking around, what kind of investigation? Because I called the military on myself. And I asked them to see, is anything I can correct? And on top, try to work something out. Even if I did do wrong, and I was told you shouldn't be held so harshly liable without somebody taking care of it. If it was wrong, they could have went to the police just like they've told me. You immediately went to the police and it had immediately been taken care of then. The same ideology and the weight that held behind me of not taking care of business, why aren't you taking care of business? It's an intimidation tactic. It's assault. Psychological, social, societal assault tactic. It's not just putting somebody in their place. You're illy utilizing the enforcements behind whatever they want to verbalize, perjurize. And that perjury, I always say perjurize because it was under investigation in Colorado Springs and said elsewhere. People making complaints that I'm doing something in front of their house that's suspicious. The cops got into it. They investigated. They came to me. Talked about it after the 6 weeks, 24/7. Anyways, I was walking down the street. Somebody called in. Cops came. In a sense, they investigated. I wasn't even in front of the person's house. I was 20 minutes off, per se. Before. So they put together somebody perjurized. That's perjury, lying to the system. 2, there is an orchestration of organization, either gang, group, even if it's a family, just trying to intimidate somebody else or utilize wrongful enforcement, power, authority, and targeting that person. They put that together 100%. Not only in one house, not just that one incident. Multitudes of incidences in that 6 weeks. With contact with it. Coming back to me contacting, just like these people. Walking by an apartment complex. Hey, what's up, Willie Lump Lump? Hey, cross-eyed. What's this and that? First of all, you just told the police they was trying to make a complaint that I'm creating a problem. So you perjurized on that. 2, you're making out that I caused the problem. You're the one that invoked it. I had an officer pull up in front of a bunch of blacks in an apartment complex. They had a teenage kid trying to threaten me verbally at least 650 feet away from me. Colorado Springs is a little bit different than a lot of inner city situations. Parking lot of an apartment complex and them shouting out. Cop straight ass drove up, busted them on spot, and they hated the hell out of that, burnt the shit out of them. He didn't say, shit, you're invoking him. You called us before that he's over here intimidating you when I just watched you fucking punk on top of utilizing and instructing some other teenager like he ain't gonna get in trouble because he's underage doing the threatening and the beckoning, and he's fucking 650 feet away on a public sidewalk and he talks back to you and you threaten him that you're gonna get him in trouble. Little punk ass bitch. And on top, tell you the truth, you can be criminally fucking charged with it. And I'm not criminally in charging anything because we're putting this under investigation. You want a gang investigation? You want to group up on him? Let's put it into a gang investigation. Right back at you. You want to run your punk ass, bitch ass mouth, and this cop lit him the fuck up. Is it proper? Is it this? Anybody decreditizes that? Go ahead. I guess one proper to another, and that's what I talk about. Hey, there's so much touchy shit, you could lose your life at a whim, right? Oops, one bad word jeopardizes a whole life-threatening case. So, anyways, gonna end this video on that note. Pretty damn long. Almost a gig coming up on. Sorry about the cussing, the profanity, but to get it out and exert it. Once again, I was being electronically shocked maximally to the point I had tear duct problems. I wasn't memorizing right. Narrations, alterations of my personality and character. Later on, it's going to come out. It's worse than electroshock therapy because you don't know what's going on with it. But it still has a hell of a lot of similarities. Not even just similarities. The same effects, but 10 times worse. Look at the side effects of electroshock therapy and then tell me about myself. Vagus nerve stimulator, 1,000,000,000% symptoms as such. Exactly to a T of being stimulated in the side of the throat, intervening in the veins or in the brain and all the rest. But there's more than just one implant or one connection. I had a scab here for 4 years straight where they drilled me in the fucking forehead. It finally went away, but if you utilized or was in the past utilized the black light, you'd still see the scar mark. And then there was a drill hole in my fucking forehead with a scab on it right after they did it. That was in New York City, New York, January 28th, 2010. That's where they're trying to say we legally implanted you. Like a forced electroshock therapy type of paperwork. When I asked the mental health facility, and they would legally 1,000,000,000% have to tell me the correct answer on that. So there's no paperwork whatsoever. No way. No state, no other states. I gave them. I said, here, you can have full access to Colorado, Arizona, everywhere. You pull in whatever you want. Everything. You can get in deep. And that's a trustworthy situation because they understood, hey, who says they ain't working, which there was influence on the inside. Systematical assault right in their face, and they wasn't able to do right immediately take care of it. But situation's going on, but let's try to make it into a cartel situation. How do I know you're not friends with them without being paranoid and being understood? Being persuaded and not wrongfully doing me. And that's why holding back, and it makes me look paranoid, holding back from giving information, and then somebody trying to make it up. You're discompliant, you're holding back, you're being a punk, whatever they can do to induce the information. But they understood. But hey, I gave them full access, and that's how some of my decisions come about. So what they are. Not saying that those people didn't do me wrong and somebody's making it out. They explain things just to console you, to make you feel good, and you're running your mouth illegally, and you don't know what you're talking about because they did it. And the fact, if that's the case, then it is neglect, I guess it'd be. Which was talked out there. It'd be neglect, wrongfully done. It'd be wrongfully advised underneath their legal strengths, I guess, to a point. I mean, there's a lot of ways to work it, but hey, since I'm not technically 100% about that, it's just ideal then, gut feeling, which had been talked about prior, and getting a lawyer involved, especially when a lawyer is sitting there intervening intentionally, not only defending and trying to get me released, but internal situations with the facility of wrongdoing, or what seems to be leading into what might be being legally wrongdoing. Somebody trying to do something or utilize a strength to crush me from having the ability to think, to properly represent it, to be unrestrained, influenced of their actions, their authoritative actions, while me being restrained and incarcerated. That was also talked, because the facility themselves, the director, has also been talked in New York City, New York in 2014, 2015 for sure, that they, as a facility, because they facilitated me, have some type of attachable right to follow me across the United States. It's a privately owned facility that the county paid. and them being under certain privacy type situations, then they have a right privately to do whatever they want to with me or some dumb shit. It's crazy. I'll explain some more later when I'm like, it's crazy, I don't understand it right now. And in the future, especially when I'm becoming incapacitated, I'm feeling better, and all the good capacity comes back, I'm able to intelligently talk and explain. Or at least, if it isn't my intelligence, it's somebody else's. Anyhow, I gotta end this video. It's 45 minutes long. At least it went that long. I'm utilizing a secondary phone because another phone that I just got, the battery all of a sudden in the last few days have taken a crap. I've had a family member come from outside of state. Their phone's also having problems. Anyhow, with that being said, it's so mixed up to trust that. The trusting in that, you can trust what's happening because that's real, but how it's stated, the value of trust of family, who says they ain't influenced, and type of situation. No wonder why don't you talk to your family? It's a severe situation. Anyways, so with that being said, I'm utilizing the second phone because the other phone's having battery problems. While I'm having another black individual that's off a town in Gift Street, Columbus, Ohio, right off of here where I'm at, Walnut and Gift Street, Columbus, Ohio, run their mouth day and night. And I've ran out of my house even 8 years ago, and they haven't stopped over on that corner. They'll move in and out. Family associated shit. Even with one group of people that you can identify visually, even though you ain't got names, they'll move out. Other people move in, and within 2 days, be repeating the same thing the other people had. One individual hasn't moved out, I don't know, but I'm almost sure he hasn't because he's been in the neighborhood, and that individual has been there for tons of long time. And would be another, was 100% represented in New York City in conveyance of strangers taking and seeing something, saying something, but some other people putting shit together from state to state and saying it's the individual out back is one of the people. So I came back home with a gut-wrenched, unexplainable, but gut-filling, other people also understood it, without being influenced to attack somebody or wrongfully do somebody, or say, hey, everybody else is going with the flow, I'm going to go with it. But 100% identifying another person, just like Carl Newman was identified, and his family members in New York City, Tottenville, Staten Island. And there was a little bit of speak out in Tottenville. They had a vehicle with the license plates Newman on the back. And they was like, hey, your family's not allowed around him. Why would you come around him if you got a problem with him? It does make sense, because then you're getting everybody else in trouble for us not standing grounds for him, even if we don't want to. Legally, he has a right to see it that way. It's legally represented that way. But who knows how that got all mixed up and what worked out in the end of what's going on, because there's other police, more police. I only showed up there, and within 2 days, I already have police officers talking about me. I don't need to be nosing into business. I don't need to stick my nose into this and that. Time you do that, 2 days, Jesus Christ, you know me like the back of my own fucking hand. No, that's not going to work out. I've been sabotaged by the system. Blue gang bitch assaulted. Not just in Columbus, Ohio, but the roots. Everybody keeps saying the roots is Columbus, Ohio. Columbus, Ohio wants to defend itself. Shit, you've already had, look how many holes you've already fell through and all the victimization that's happened to me that you can't fix because you can't give me physical life back. You can try to say, oh, we're sorry, and brush it off. That's not going to work either. But if you was truly sorry and understood everything, because I'm sure somebody's going to relay this to the damn police, relay it to, let's say, off-duty police running their own fucking side skit show there. So, hey, you take what I just said in this video and compile it. I get attacked for it, I guess we can get it on. I'm tired of also feeling like I'm being physically belittled. I'm tiny, I'm smaller, you whip my ass in a minute. That's not going to happen. It's time for me to take a stance and not feel that I'm in some type of jeopardy of my freedom or my rights because your authority to be able to talk shit right back to you. Victimize you the same way you victimize me. Anyways. And they love that being said. I was told by a lawyer, don't say that, because they love that being said, because that puts it in a situation. And you're incompetent. You don't understand it. So what? We get the rights to take advantage of you. Oh. That's all right. Let's put it through federal law. Let's see if I can't get federal lawyers and anything else under the sun to work. Let's see if it doesn't work which has been sabotaged of the works that happened prior, to be able to work where it's standing grounds. And you don't talk shit to me. You don't belittle. You don't jeopardize my life. You don't intimidate. You don't do that. But that's not only to the cops, that's to everyone. A community affair and a community restrictions and community situations being relayed by law enforcement that finally investigated shit, on top of having other victims step forward and saying, no, it's wrong, needs to end. It's not just, oh, well, we're going to press charges. No, you're threatening life. You're threatening other people's lives. Harsh. Yours can be proven. He verbally, which I've admitted to, walk out and be like, man, dude, I'd fucking kill you for doing that shit. Verbalization, and maybe even meaning it or not, it's in an incident. It's not in the same type of incident of these people threatening life the way that they are. That was explained and associated with psychology and psychologists and law enforcement, Colorado Springs, elsewhere, and psychologists here, Franklin County, Columbus, Ohio, type of situation. People trying to utilize systematical, hey, you should go to Riverside rather than Twin Valley, ha 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 ha. Are you telling me there's corruption in the system? So why are you victimizing me to go see somebody because I'm unstable for something I'm saying that is unstable? And you're admitting to it's unstable by telling me that one place is not no good, this place is. And they both work for the county. Not trying to get a little step up on, but it does help out of saying, hey, you recognize something, why the hell don't you recognize anything else but what you want? In this video and upload it. 1.2 gigs, I guess. So yeah, I need to stop this video. And once again, targetofunlawfulacts.com. Targetofunlawfulacts.com is my website. Ain't very important, but hey, I like posting information there. I don't upload the videos there. The YouTube channel is listed. But that's also YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Even though there's not a whole lot of info on all those, but just some random posts and stuff like that, I guess. But some information leading into stalking, information on stalking, other states taking care of illegal implanting and banning illegal implanting. And now, haha, I did the same conniving ass shit these cops and the rest of these people are trying to utilize. That was for employees, as the way somebody's criticized me. No, there's other states that have banned even medical if something's left in behind that can be electricalized, magnetized, or anything else, be considered, even if it's a needle, a broke off needle, can be considered as being an implant. And the doctor can get in trouble, and depending on who's associated, gets in trouble. It's a misdemeanor in some places and a felony in others. And it's not just, oh, well, that already existed because it's medical malpractice. No, literally banning and applying being implanted. I think I have some of those situations on my website where I lead into that story, and if you research enough into it, you'll see, and you read through some of these state bills and laws that have passed, some of them even citywide or county-wise, or certain states, but not all 50 states, banning implanting, illegal implanting. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Peace, y'all.